Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Today we have a discussion about what is going on in Ethiopia. In the title, you are looking at why is Ethiopian in trouble again? We have here respected brother Mr. Mel Tawahada. Mel Tawahada is the owner and CEO of Infinity Wealth Management and fee-based registered investment advisory firm established in 1998, dedicated to helping high net worth individuals, families, and small businesses reach their investment, life insurance, and financial goals. Mr. Mill, first of all, we would like to thank you coming to our channel, Kings of the Nile. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to also thank you, Jamal, by name, and I want to thank Abbai Media for all the great work you guys are doing. I am really grateful for what you're doing.
Thank you. Mr. Mill, I am going to direct the questions because of the time that you have very limited. So we hear from here and there, especially from Arab world medias and the others, even some also people from inside, they call what in Ethiopia the conflict between the people in region, in Tigray region, and also the central government, they call it civil war. Is there a civil war in Ethiopia?
Well, what constitutes a civil war is basically a total destruction of a country where everybody is going to fight everybody, and there's going to be no allegiance and no definition of a war. So, in order to get the civil war going, there is the preconditions are not in Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is a highly divided country with 83 different tribes. So there is no dominant tribe that can activate a civil war. So Ethiopia is divided in very, very many people, and it's very difficult to get them to get excited about killing one another in another tribe. And Ethiopians really are not, their mindset is not set up like that. So there is really no civil war. And there are some people who want to exaggerate because of the conflict is causing them undue stress, and they are trying to get attention of the world media by just saying it's a civil war. But I completely disagree with that notion. There is no civil war in Ethiopia. It's a conflict between the federal government of Ethiopia, specifically the army, the prime minister, and the regional government, which has taken actions that caused this type of antagonism and eventually led to conflict. And so there is really no civil war in Ethiopia, except there is some police enforcement action in the northern part of the country called Tigray. Other than that, I don't see this as being a civil war.
Thank you, Mr. Mill. Especially when I see some your activities in Tigray, and especially in humanitarian area, I see some also in some websites your activities like helping Tigray country, like I mean the region, and you were being also taking some Americans to visit the Aksum and also the church there. So, in your idea, the Tigray people, what do you think they feel now with what is going on in the region?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, I feel really sad for the people of Tigray. And I feel sad for the people of Ethiopia, all in all, because Ethiopia has been in many wars, and it's not really a thing that we need. Ethiopia does not need any war. What they need is to rebuild the country, introduce education, and get the healthcare system improved, especially in the middle of COVID, to be able to go into a war situation. It's really, really not a thing that Tigray people want or need. And I'm sure a lot of people in Tigray are right now stressed because of the military activity, and our prayers are with them. And I hope this will come to a close very quickly, and not a whole lot of people are going to be displaced. God forbid, there's not the number of people that we were told by Sudan that will be crossing the border. And I hope that Ethiopia will settle down and this Tigray problem will be solved and without a huge loss of life. And Tigray people are just beautiful, kind people, hardworking, and very oppressed. And so I feel for them that the time has come for them also to be free, like the rest of Ethiopia, and be able to express their feelings without fear of intimidation or repercussions that would economically isolate them if they don't help or support the TPLF. And so that kind of situation has really terrorized the Tigray people for a long time. And I feel it in my heart that they eventually will be able to free themselves from this type of big impediment in their seek for liberty and happiness.
Okay, Mr. Mel, as long as we are mentioned these issues, can you tell us some activities that you have done in the Tigray region and still
Yeah, we have
doing
done a
something?
lot of work over the years. We worked in Aksum, particularly, some work in Mekale, some work in Adikayi, some work in different parts of Tigray by way of distribution of books, uh, eyeglass work. I've been able to get a lot of kind people from the U.S. To not disturb, come from the U.S. and be able to basically help us to come and do work for children eyeglasses and adult eyeglasses, and mainly prescription eyeglasses. And so we worked with a lot of good doctors in Tigray that are really trying their best to take care of their people. So
So,
those are the kind of works we've been done.
so what is the main cause of the war in your perspective?
Well, the cause of the war really has been simmering. It's been uh, the tension has been going on since basically 2018, when the young Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was elected, and he wanted to. Actually, this is within the same party that used to belong to all the tribes, and basically, as Ethiopia was really organized along tribal line, and so in 2018, a new prime minister was elected, and he's a reformist prime minister. And as far as I can see, he's been trying to move some progressive ideas and concepts, improving communications, improving human rights, emptying the jails from political prisoners who were suffering in the country for a long, long time. Those type of things, and basically introducing freedom of speech and ability to be able to start businesses and things like that. And at that time, TPLF felt that they weren't being included, and because they were basically ruling the country for 27 years, and they felt that they were sidelined, and they were very angry. And starting from day one, they tried to find a way to destabilize Abiy, and by doing so, destabilize Ethiopia. And so that really was a tension that was building up now for 2 years, 2018, 2019. And now this year, with the COVID in 2020, things didn't get any better. They got even worse. So Tigray province were basically really at the point where they were trying to seek different ways to discourage the federal government, and they held an illegal election only by themselves. when they well know that Ethiopian election is being postponed till COVID gets better, but they didn't accept that, and they don't even eliminated the idea that the federal government was illegitimate, and they proceeded on to hold an illegal election. And after the election, of course, the relationship with the federal government got even worse, somewhere in the timeline of August, September. And during the September timeline, there were really also another situation came to pass, and that is the change of the currency. A lot of the people, the leaders in the last 27 years have accumulated a lot of money that was in the old currency. And when the currency was changed to a new currency, a lot of them were not able to convert it to the new money. And that brought an incredible amount of stress, I think, on the TPLF leadership. And so finally, all came to a head last week when a Northern Command Army barrack was attacked. And by the Ethiopian government, barrack was attacked by TPLF special forces. A lot of them were really damaged and harmed while they were not even fully awake. They were given misinformation. The radio communication was taken over. And some of them were taken hostage. Some were killed. And some were able to escape. Some died. And it was really a very horrendous crime that was committed against the army. A lot of people don't expect their army, their own citizens, to come and attack their own army, but that's what happened in Tigray. So basically, that escalated the situation, and Prime Minister then asked a large-scale law enforcement into the province of Tigray, which is ongoing right now.
So we can say this one is just a campaign for law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else how to categorize it, because really, I mean, if there is a group that is really running almost like a government and claiming to be almost a government by itself, you cannot allow two governments in one country. So the central government, which is the federal government, the legitimate government, gives an announcement or a notion, and then these guys make announcement just like they were federal government. And so they were basically mimicking and copying whatever the federal government was doing, and basically saying that we don't have to abide by any of the rule, and if things get bad, we're going to break away and become a country. And I don't know what happened to that. They were trying to become a country, or nobody accepted it, or they don't have support internationally. I'm not sure, but they obviously didn't succeed in breaking away. And so now they're stuck with not being a country and also having problem with the federal government.
So as we know, all there are people, civilian people. So what is the government doing to protect the civilian population there?
The government is doing really a good job protecting the civilians, because they are getting into a precision bombing to try and minimize the damage that this group can do to its army. They know the location of the armaments and the warehouses, and they were able to surgically remove those threats against the Ethiopian army. So they are very successful in doing that. And I heard the Air Force commander yesterday that there are some sorties fully loaded going into a target location, but when they see it's not opportune time and there are civilians around, they will fly back without unloading their cargo. So they are doing the best they can under a very difficult circumstances, and a very mountainous country, by the way, to protect civilians. TPLF has dug itself deep into this, and they have been preparing for this, and they have illegally also removed a lot of Ethiopian arms that belong to the country. and took possession of those, and they were all located in Tigray. And so those are the kind of things that the government is dealing with, but they want to bring the civilian suffering and civilian casualty to bare minimum or none. And I think they're doing a great job. Of course, I'm not on the war front, and I can't tell you exactly that I have an eyewitness, but from what I can ascertain, they're doing a good job under a very difficult circumstances.
Okay, but now, do we expect to have a peace talk? Because we hear now from the Tigray side there is a call for a peace talk or something. Do you believe that?
Yeah, even the Ethiopian government has said the door for peace negotiation is not closed. It's open anytime. They can come back and talk, but they put three preconditions, which I find to be reasonable. And that is number one, to give up and surrender the people that were taken hostages. There were a lot of soldiers that were taken hostages, and nobody knows where they are. So they have to give up the hostages and give them back to Ethiopia, to the federal government. That's number one. Number two, they got to be able to surrender the heavy equipments that they have taken back to the possession of the federal government, in order to be able to secure the safety. And number three, they have to hand over the key ringleaders and the perpetrators of this conflict. And those are the three conditions that the federal government has put. And I think if they can match that, I think there will be a peace talk very quickly, because nobody wants war. And it's in Ethiopia right now, harvest season. They really need to get back and trying to get food back on the table. They will be starving, and there will be shortage of gas and shortage of water, shortage of everything very quickly. It is already on the verge of really a very tight situation. And if it's pushed over like this, especially in Tigray, it's going to be a problem for the citizens. I hope this will come to a quick end, and everybody will be able to get back to rebuilding their lives, and Tigray people to be free like all of us, and have a better life and build their future based on what they can do, and make peace with their cousins right next door, Eritrea, and be able to do business with Eritreans and open up those ports and benefit Tigray and benefit Eritrea. And when everybody does well, all of us are going to do well. I mean, it's going to be a win-win situation. War is not good for anybody. You lose a lot of human lives, you lose a lot of resources, and especially for a poor country like ours, it's really not a good option. You really have to think about ending the war as fast as you can, and making sure that these threats are removed, and remove this Marxist ideology people that have been oppressing the country and the province for maybe something like 46 years. But even after they took power, it's been about 30 years. So people have suffered greatly under this oppressive system, and people don't want it anymore.
Okay, Mr. Mel, this is my last question. So, how do you see this campaign ending in the long and short term?
Well, in the short term, basically, we need to see those situations coming to a peace talk and meet the conditions that the government has asked. And those are the three conditions. If those can be fulfilled, that would be just beautiful for everybody, and the war will be over soon. If those conditions cannot be met, then the government would have to militarily extract those people. And I heard them yesterday saying that if they refuse to surrender, they have no choice but to military engage them. And that's something we really don't want to see happen. But in one way or the other, the problem will be solved fairly quickly, and Ethiopia will be able to move forward and remove some of the impediment of businesses, remove some of these old archaic communist laws that make Ethiopia a very unattractive country for capital market to invest. Make it a private ownership of land so that people own properties and they cannot be evicted by some group of government people who are trying to come and extort money out of them. All these people have been really suffering under this communist rule for about 46 years. And the laws of the communist rule has lingered in Ethiopia, unfortunately. And so once that is done and the mandate is given to the prime minister, if he wins the election, he can make a significant change to Ethiopia, make it into a very attractive country, a middle income country by another 5 to 10 years, and finish up the dam and be able to give electricity to people and rebuild Tigray, and everybody will have really a better life. And I just see that that is not very far. It's in the horizon. Ethiopians are very good people, very intelligent people, very resilient people, people that have seen a lot of suffering, including Tigray. I think they will make it work for them and the country will start prospering along with our cousins in Eritrea. And that's my hope, and that's probably what's going to happen.
That's our all hope. So thank you for having you here in our Kings of the Nile channel. So I think it will not be the last chance to have with you. We will have you more and more, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mill. I
Thank you.
thank you, and also our brothers and sisters. Thank you for watching us in this very critical issue. And I think we got a lot of ideas from Mr. Mill, the citizen, American businessman, and the one who tried his time and also his passion and his even business in Ethiopia, and he is also trying to help the Tigray region. That is why we chose him. So because he loves Ethiopia and he is working hard for Ethiopia. So thank you, Mr. Mill.
You're welcome, my friend.